Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Higgs Harmonies Choral Music Central. In today's video, we're once again returning to the King Singers, and they're going to be performing Abide With Me, one of my favorite hymns of all time. And this is kind of a sing-along version, I think, because they actually have the score on the screen. So we'll be able to follow along. And I want to introduce some ideas that I think put this performance over the edge, because they do some really fantastic things. They make some wonderful sound, and it's really all in the little details. So let's dive into that. If you want your recommendations bumped up to the top of the list, don't forget to check out Buy Me a Coffee and Patreon, both of which are linked in the video description. Here we go. Great. Okay, so let's take a look at verse 1 for now. A lot of really nice things. It's beautiful, right? They do such a nice job, and they don't overcomplicate things. They just do things the right way. And I like that a lot. Okay, looking at the beginning, I'm going to jump around a little bit here. Now, the challenge with hymns, and I say this all the time, but the challenge with hymns is sometimes it's a case where we had a Gregorian chant that was taken by Bach and turned into a Bach chorale. So he harmonized it and did all these things. And then we had German text, and then we had English text. So there's a lot that goes on. And sometimes, no matter how beautiful the hymn is, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes there are weird text things that go on. For example, abide with me. Abide. That's the emphasis on abide. Yet we have abide with me. Okay. And that's okay. It still sounds good, but it's helpful if the ensemble and the King Singers do this, is they don't make too much of the and they actually make bide with me the emphasis. All right. So we're actually kind of accenting beat 3 in a way. See if we can hear that again. Yeah. So I guess they didn't really accent the word or the syllable bide, but they didn't go abide with me. It wasn't super strong. They kind of evened it out a little bit. And that's kind of the compromise you have to make sometimes when you're singing hymns. Even in this next phrase, the darkness deepens. The darkness deepens. The darkness deepens would be the appropriate emphasis. So they kind of do the darkness deepens just to give us the right emphasis. And what do they do here on this word? The, not the, but the darkness deepens. That's one thing I admire about English singers and English choirs and choral ensembles is they've got really nice vowels. The darkness deepens. Let's hear that opening one more time, just those first 2 phrases. Yes. So this is I think a pandemic performance, right? So they weren't all together. I don't think when they were singing this, they probably recorded it separately, but still their ensemble's good. We don't really need to talk about that too much just because they're clearly not all together. But one thing I do enjoy, Lord. That's something that Canadian choirs, my choir included, we work on when we're doing English music. Lord, really making it over the top British. Lord, don't want any R's creeping in there. But what do we have at the end of this phrase? Lord, with me abide. Right? Abide. That's a nice diphthong. And what the King Singers do well when they're performing together, but they're doing it well here too, is they're changing the diphthong at the exact same time. So the ensemble is really nice. If somebody goes, Lord with me abide, and goes right to that second part of the diphthong, the mix and the balance is going to be off. So they actually morph together, and that comes from years of rehearsal and years of practice. Let's hear When Other Helpers Fail and Comforts Flee. Comfort. Good. So one thing they're doing too, and this is important if you're in an ensemble or if you're directing an ensemble, is when we have an aspirated H, help of the helpless. First of all, we have to overdo that consonant always, because we want Granny Smith at the back of the hall to be able to hear what we're doing. Help of the helpless. We don't want to do like any achlaut like in German, but we do want that H consonant to be heard. My choir director, it's really funny. He always says garlic breath on this. Help of the helpless. We want to feel that air moving forward. But what you're going to have to do there, though, is try not to give the H exactly on the downbeat. You actually want to anticipate the downbeat a little bit so that the help part, the E vowel there, is on the beat. So we're not dragging. So if we go help, then we're right on. If we go help, we're going to drag. It's very, very fine distinction, but that's what makes a good choir great. When we can make these little details happen, it'll work. And it won't sound out of place. It'll sound absolutely correct. So we have help of the helpless. And though help is a word that I really dislike singing. It's a great word. Help others, that's great. But I always find that the L, any word that I have where it's a vowel followed by an L, I always and my hair stands on end when I hear that, because what we tend to do as singers is we sometimes want to get to the L first. So we get help, and we get this gross sound. Help. We want to lengthen the as long as possible and then just tuck in the L. Help of the helpless. But we certainly don't want to anticipate. Rant over. But they're doing a really great job of painting this text because it's such a poignant hymn. Yeah. Oh, they do a really beautiful job of this verse in particular. And you know what? If you're singing this hymn, or your choir is, or you're doing it in an ensemble, you might do it differently, and that's totally fine. But it's nice when a choir clearly makes decisions. They talk about it. They say, okay, well, I want to stop here. I want to go through here. They're very simple choices, but they make a really big difference when everyone's on the same page. And they certainly did that in this verse. Beautiful. Okay, so swift to its close, ebbs out life's little day. Earth's joys grow dim, its glories pass away. So I think they decided to just go through here. They were going to ignore that semicolon. They're just going to keep going through because, and I think why they did this is because they want to make more of a moment when they get to, "O thou who changest not." So if we have too many breaks and stops, it kind of takes away from the moment. So I like the fact that they went through there so that then they could sing, "O thou who changest not, abide not. Abide." And they actually did not. Very, very British. I love the way they pronounce these vowels. And if you're wanting to sing this, I highly recommend you copy and paste their vowels, because that's exactly what we want to see. And this verse, I want to highlight the tenor line, which I think personally is the most interesting line in this whole piece. Change and decay in all around I see, O thou who changest not, abide with me. So they get that nice little quarter note, offbeat thing going on there. So let's listen to verse 2 again. I want you to enjoy that tenor line and how it sort of fits in with the rest. And I promise you won't be able to hear anything else once you listen to it. Swift to its close, and throughout life's little day. So very important there. Day, da, dee, to sing that perfect fifth. And again, they're matching vowels there. They decided to go for day. Out life's little day. I might have gone day, but I like that sort of closed E. Day. Here we go. Here's the nice line. Isn't that a beautiful line? I love that. I did a virtual choir of Abide With Me, this exact arrangement, and I enjoyed the tenor part the most. Usually I know when I make a virtual choir, usually I know the bass part and I know the melody. So it's fun for me to sight sing the inner parts, because those are the parts that really need to be brought out, because they can get buried a bit easily with, the melody should always be probably the loudest, because we want to hear what the actual melody of the piece is. Da 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 dee da 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 dum. And the bass part kind of holds down the harmony. The inner parts often get buried, and it's nice. It's nice to hear them. Alto, I haven't listened too closely to the alto, but it's there. It's just a little bit hidden. Another thing the King singers often do, and they opted to do here, O thou who changest not, abide with me. So they're actually doing a fairly strong glottal, and a glottal is a sound. Fairly strong glottal on the word abide. That's a choice. I personally really like it, because it's going to give us a really clean onset for that phrase. O thou who changest not, abide with me. So not only do we have the separation from that break after the word not, but we give a really clear abide with me, which is I like that. Nice touch. Yes. The nice low E flat at the end. Beautiful. So this is the verse where we really get dynamic contrast, yeah? And that's important at all times in your choral pieces to have some dynamic variety. But because this is a hymn typically sung around Remembrance Day, around Veterans Day, or whatever it is in your country, talking about the war and the soldier's sacrifice, it's even more important to have that dynamic change. Hold thou thy cross before my closing eyes, shine through the gloom and point me to the skies. Heaven's morning breaks, and earth's vain shadows flee. In life and death, O Lord, abide with me. So I think part of the reason this is such a great hymn, and it really speaks to a lot of people, is because it's talking about death and, life and death and sacrifice and all of these things. I think everybody can relate to it, because I think everybody on the earth has some sort of connection or relationship with death in some way. So it's really important. And having dynamic contrast just puts it over the edge artistically. And if you're a choir and you're singing this, or you're a church congregation or whatever you are, do your part by adding your own dynamic contrast as appropriate. Don't just sing fortissimo out of the blue, or that'll just ruin it. But make decisions like the King Singers do and did in this case, and give us some variety, because it's really, really nice. Beautiful hymn, beautifully done. And that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to give me your recommendations. Check out Buy Me a Coffee and Patreon, both of which are linked in the video description. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.